I wouldn't know if we filmed it, would have got Jesse up.
So,
You are recording.
Well, it's on his screen.
yeah.
It's actually, I didn't put on my list because
Okay, my name's Cherie Livingston. This is the 9 herb chart. What you have in front of you is the Norse and English version. The 9 herbs and what they look like, so you can identify them. Some of them are pretty easy. I assume you all know what a crab apple looks like. What I will go through is the charm itself, the herbs, and a little bit about why we still consider it useful today. Remember Mugwort, what revealed, what you established. At the mighty proclamation, Una you are called, oldest of herbs, you may avail against, and against, you may avail against poison, against contagion, you may avail against the loathsome one, who travels through the land. In your way bread, the mother of herbs, open to the east and mighty within. Carts rolled over you, women rode over you. Over you brides cried out, bulls snorted over you. All over withstood then, and were crushed. So you withstand poison, contagion, and loathsome one, who travels throughout the land. Cress, this herb is called. It grew on stone, and stands against poison, and attacks against pain. Nettle it is called. It attacks against poison. It expels malignant things, cast out poison. This is the herb that fought against the serpent. It avails against poison. It avails against contagion. It avails against the loathsome one, who travels throughout the land. Now you, Bethany, Nightshade, put to the flight the greater, the lesser, until the cure for both be with him. Remember Caramel, what you revealed, what you brought to an end at Alford, that never be because of affection should he give up his life, after chamomile for him was prepared for food. This is the herb called crab apple, a seal sent forth across the sea spine for the harm or poison of some other remedy. These 9 have strength against 9 poison. A worm kept creeping, he tore a man in 2. Then Odin took his 9 glory twigs and struck the other, then flew apart into 9 bits, and brought about the apple and his poison. And she, the elder, would never enter a house. Sheol and fennel, the 2 might. These herbs shaped the wise Lord in the holy heavens when he hung. He established them, he sent them into the 7 worlds, for the poor and the rich, a remedy for all. It stands against pain, it fights against poison, it avails against the 3 and against 30, against the foe's hand and against the noble scheming, against the enhancement of vile creatures. And now these 9 herbs have strength against the 9 who have fled from glory, against the 9 poisons, against the 9 contagions, against the red poison and against the dark poison, against the white poison, against the blue poison, against the yellow poison, against the green poison, against the dusky poison, against the blue poison, against the brown poison, against the purple poison, against the worm blister, against the water blister, against the thorn blister, against the thistle blister, against the ice blister, against the poison blister. If any poison comes flying from the east, or any from the north comes, or any from the west, or over the tribes of men. Christ stood over the sickness of a cruel kind. I alone know the running rivers. There are 9 antlers that enclose. All weeds must now spring up from as herbs. The sea slips apart as salt water. Will I this poison blow from you? Mugwort, waybed, which is open from the east. Lamb's cress, betony, chamomile, nettle, wood, sour apple, shovel, fennel. Old soap would work the herbs into powder. Mix with soap and apple's juice. Make a paste of water, of ash. Take the fennel and boil to a paste. Warm it with the mixture. Then he puts it on the salve, before and after. Sing the charm on each the herb stripes before he prepares them. On the apple also. And sing unto the mouth of man as in both ears. On the wound the same arm as he puts on the salve. He came up with this charm when he was on the tree for 9 days. This charm was created for health reasons, also to protect against the elves. And if you could see in the later part of the charm, at one point it was color-coded, considering the different colors of the herbs. Sorry, we're doing this. We'll start with the herbs. Mugwort. It was said that if you were going on a journey, you would carry it and no harm would come of you. If you're sick, it's a good thing to drink a tea of this herb. It's also hung in the house to ward off evil. It's also confused because it looks a lot like wormwood because of the flowers. So you have to look very carefully when you're cutting it to make sure you're cutting the right plant. It was often put in ale when given. So it was administered in alcohol. It was a stimulant and a diuretic and diaphoric. Plankton. Usually when you apply this herb, you crush it either by chewing it or like using your fingernail. You've got to get the oils of the plant to work. It's not just putting the leaf on your wound will work. But it will work on ulcers, sores and wounds, and snake bites. It arrests hemorrhages. It was believed to act against fever. A tonic can be made to alleviate diarrhea. Nettle. Back in early English time clothing was made from it, and seeds were made to caulk ships with it. The seeds were made to cool burn. Tonic for a stimulant. It was anti-asthmatic when mixed with roots or the leaves with honey. The seeds were used also for constipation. Seeds were also used for venomous creatures, mad dogs, and the antidote for poisoning by hemlock, hensbane, and nightshade. Chamomile. We believe we're talking about the German one of the two, because there are two different chamomiles. But in this time, you could use either one. It's valued for its tonic and anodyne properties, and if you look down, anodyne is a pain-killing drug or medicine. The flowers are good for a diabetic, and it's also a favorite strewing herb. It is good for toothache or earache, or neurotic, which is also further down. It's intermittent pain or a course of nerve, especially in the head or face. And also if you use it in a bath, it helps with joint pain and such. Crabapple, also referred in the poem as Wargaloo, as a cure for constipation. Thought to use to promote deep sleep and renewed energy, and also thought to be a cure against poison. Atolithe, it means poison hater, and is effective against driving off toxins. There are several identifications. Of the identifications, most believe this is Bentley of the three, but it's Bentley, black shade, black nightshade, or cockspur grass. But Cherie, it's a remedy for a sore stomach. One can be made in a poultice for aching joints. This is one of the two plants that was made by Odin, the other one being fennel, while he was being hanged. This is a stimulant that lowers blood pressure, and there was a lot of high blood pressure at that time. I mean, there was a lot of pillaging going on. There's a lot of high blood pressure when you're going and killing Saxons. So it also promoted a general sense of well-being. Fennel was hung over doorways on Midsummer's Eve to ward off fire and witchcraft. It gave strength and courage. It was believed that the Anglo-Saxons, that it promoted good eyesight. Fennel properties are used in purgatives and gripe waters prepared for infants. It also can be used for adults, especially after taco night. Then again, this is also one of the 2 plants that was made by Odin. Now, lamb's crest, this is the most talked about because nobody can identify it. Most believe it's called corn salad. Some believe it's a moss on a rock. Some believe it's corn salad. It's the most fought about. And nobody has a use for it. I have a picture of it, and it's thrown on salads. It's good for you. Eat it. I put the books I used on there. This is an extremely good one by Pullington. Leechcraft Early English Terms. Reason why this is still useful today is we live in an age where you go to the doctor, you tell them, oh, I have a headache. Next thing you know, you're leaving the doctor's office with a prescription for 3 different medications. They throw pills at us, you watch the TV, they're giving advertisements for medications with more side effects than good. We need more solutions like herbs that don't have side effects. We can find them we can grow them in our garden or find them out in the wild that aren't going to kill us by taking them, aren't going to cost us an arm and a leg or need a prescription plan to take, that we're providing for us. And it isn't that hard to really take herbs. There are books like, there's The Complete Guide to Herbal Medicine. It's done by 2 pharmacists. And with this book, they tell you the herb, how to take the herb, how not to take it, if you have a certain condition, why you don't take it. So it's not like, oh, chamomile, you're having trouble sleeping, take it. Chamomile, if you're taking warfarin or something for blood clots, you shouldn't be taking chamomile. It will kill you. As much as I like to promote herbs, there are some herbs some people shouldn't take because they have certain conditions or they're taking certain medications. You shouldn't just take an herb because I said it's good for you. You should consult your doctor. You should consult other people. But it is a better path than just popping another pill. Odin did hand these down for a reason. He didn't just decide, oh, I'm hanging from this damn tree, I might as well spout some shit for no reason. He was the knowledgeable one for a reason. Does anybody have any questions that I will pitifully try to answer? Yes.
Is there any indication as to why those 2 particular herbs were the ones that Odin caught up, created? Down in the Lamb's Crest. I'm sorry, in the show.
I tried looking that up and I didn't find an answer. I looked at several sources and I couldn't find an answer.
Okay.
I think, like, if you look at the top of the 2nd page, it kind of...
Why did they say these 2?
Oh, why does the charm say that?
Right. No?
The only reason I could think of is there was no other herbs that were doing the job. The jobs that they do. And there could be other reasons for the herbs that we just do not know nowadays. Because there's so much knowledge that has been lost that hasn't been handed down because this is an oral tradition. Not much has been written down. Any other questions? Comments? Sarcastic remarks? Rob, shut up.
One other question. Why, is there a reason why 9? Why they didn't make it a 12 herb term? Or, I mean, they would surely they used more than 9 herbs, and you know, why these 9? Give an indication of that? Didn't Odin hang for 9 days?
9 days.
Yeah.
I was thinking an herb from each day.
It's like 9, yeah.
Like the Wiggins like 3, we like 9. The heathens like 9s.
On the Adderloth one, it said there might be several identifications, Betony, black nightshade, or cockspur grass.
Yes.
Betony makes the most sense to me because it was a common, they use the leaves like we drink tea, you know, like just regular, like we drink Chinese tea. It was sort of the morning after drink of the day in the Middle Ages. I know that it was very popular for hangovers, so I can see why it would drive off toxins from too much alcohol. Black nightshade, I think, is a hellebore, which would be really poison.
And so it's
Poisonous.
cockspur grass, it's poisonous.
Yeah, so it makes most sense to me that would be Betony, because it would be really commonly known. And it tastes good, you make tea out of it.
But if I'm correct, if you use Betony the wrong way, you wind up poisoning yourself too.
It grew wild all through the woods and stuff too, so it would be easy to find. Easy to identify too, because it has purple flowers on it.
If you go back to the poem, it goes, against purple poison. Like I said, the whole poem at one point was color-coded. It's supposed to go against, each part of this poem is supposed to go against a color. If, unfortunately, Veterans printer wasn't color, so some of these aren't color. But I think he did a good enough job. I'm not going to complain. But most of these, like plantain, you can find anywhere. You walk down a path, you're finding it. Some of these you can find in your garden. Mugwort you can find walking along a path. Crab apples, you can find those in most trees. Well, at least some in New York and I know in Ohio.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but I always seem to find mugwort grown wild along old railroad tracks. And I don't know whether maybe because originally maybe Oriental people used that as an herb, and maybe when they were putting in the railroads, I don't know, because I always find huge patches of it along old railroad tracks that are, you know, not being used anymore.
Yeah, there's a few Korean stores in my area, and there's always huge canisters of mugwort tea in there, so they stand by it. I don't know why we don't more often, but
Well, it's real tricky, because a certain dose is good, and then just over it, you get poisoned, so kind of, you have to be careful
well,
with it.
that goes by the standards, like you need to watch what herbs are good, but then herbs can wind up poisoning yourself in the same hand.
I also have to
Sure.
remember mugwort was a common bitter for things like beer
Yeah.
prior to hops becoming standard. I've done some mugwort beers and they're interesting. To say the least, they're interesting. They change on you after a couple sips.
You know, a good way to tell them apart, the mugwort and the wormwood, is wormwood is real silvery looking. The whole leaf is very silvery gray. Mugwort is green on the top and silvery gray on the bottom. That's how you can tell the difference in the leaves.
Yeah, I was going to print a picture of mugwort and then a picture of wormwood, but I didn't want to kill her printer, but I think I might have killed it anyways. Because I printed 20 copies of this, so. Any other questions?
The shovel, based on the picture, looks like a form of parsley. Is that true or not?
It does look like parsley
It's
when
sort
you
of
see
like
it, so
parsley,
it really
yeah.
does. I don't think they're the same family, but they do look alike.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at and going, did I Google this right? And it, because it was late at night when I was doing this. But, because at the last minute I realized I said, and pictures. I'm like, oh shit. It could be in the same family, but it,
What's that herb that's in Mexican food? I was thinking.
Cilantro.
Cilantro.
It's a
It
combination
does
of
look a lot
parsley
like
and
cilantro.
cilantro flavor.
It's a wider.
It's not just popular. Yeah, it used to be real popular in the colonial days, but it's kind of, hardly anybody grows it anymore.
Was that? Mexican food. Well, I can tolerate it.
Which one did you say you find on the
Huh?
Which one did you say you find on the
Well, I'll go with it for some reason, I find it on yeah. It's Artemisia vulgaris.
Thank you, Cherie.
have I bored you all enough?
No, it was very